Hi guys, how are you? This is Lois. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and safe wherever you are. Happy summer! It's really good here. It's nice. It's summertime and I went on vacation and I'm back. So guys, today I want to tell you a real life story. Okay? And this video is actually inspired by a client I had earlier today. I consulted with a wonderful guy from Ukraine who asked me a question that left me thinking, wow. So this is based on that, and it's my biggest immigration mistake. This guy said, Lois, tell me, you've lived in Canada now for 10 years. What is the biggest immigration mistake that you would not want me to repeat? And I was like, wow, such a powerful question. And I wish to bless you with the answer that I gave this guy today. Okay, so have you subscribed to my channel? If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, like, and share this video. And turn on that notification button so that you don't miss out on our videos. Now, we are available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So look for us there as Milele Immigration Services Canada. Now, my friend, what is this biggest mistake? The mistake that I'm going to share with you actually applies to a lot of people from Africa. Okay? Some other people are also making this mistake from other places in the world, but mostly I see this with a lot of Africans, and I will tell you, this mistake has cost me a lot of struggles in the last 10 years. I feel like now I have recovered from the struggles, but I wish I didn't have to go through these kind of struggles. You know what I did, or rather what we did, when we were doing the big move? We failed to immigrate one way. And this is a mistake a lot of people, especially from Africa, we are doing this. We are not immigrating one way. Okay? And for me, it means that because I didn't immigrate one way, and I'll tell you what one way means for me. Because I didn't immigrate one way, I wasn't empowered. And when you're not empowered as a newcomer, that's a recipe for disaster. Okay? We need now, I feel that I need to empower you so that you can be an empowered newcomer. And an empowered newcomer settles sooner and thrives sooner, and they enjoy their move in this country. Okay? So you have that desire, which is serious, serious desire, you acted on it, and now you have your PR card and you're coming here. And when you are, sorting your stuff, when you're cleaning your house, you have your properties, you have your money, and you're wondering, so what do I do? And you bring cash only. And some of us don't even bring all the money. You bring just what is enough. You bring just what the Canadian government said is proof of finances. Everything else you stash somewhere because you're afraid of bringing money to Canada. Okay, I don't know, maybe you're fearing if you bring money, are you gonna pay taxes on it? My friend, when you're immigrating here for the first time, you don't pay anything on whatever you bring. Okay, you can even bring your furniture. Okay, so you want, and I want you now, if you're making this decision, please move with only plan A. Stop immigrating with plan A and plan B, because the moment you have a plan B, you're always one foot in, one foot out. You're looking back. Every time you're looking back. You're here, you're focusing, but you can't stay focused because you have, you've left your mind held. There's something holding you captive where you're coming from. Okay? I've seen Indians and people from Europe. When they come here, they sell off their property, they sell their homes, and they bring money and they buy everything here in this country. Okay? So you find that they come immediately, within no time. These people, they've already established themselves and they're starting businesses. Okay? Us. And when I say us, Africans, where are you? Us. We move. We move with so little. And I say this with a lot of, what, guys? I respect people who are here because I know the struggles that we've gone through. But we need to change. We need to do better. We are moving with so little to the point of coming and accessing government welfare when we land here, because we can barely survive. We can only rent. We brought 10,000, and believe me, maybe 10,000 is what you had, maybe 20,000 is what you had. But after this session, I want you to think again and ask yourself, is that everything that you had? Okay? So, I said the best thing a new immigrant can do is to arrive here empowered. Bring cash, because cash is king in this country. What does cash do? Cash money helps you establish sooner. Okay? So, as far as buying a car is concerned, if you have cash, you're going to be able to buy a car in this country. You will realize that you will need a car the moment you land. Why? If you're looking for work, you need to be able to attend interviews without having to take buses that go around the city like crazy. Okay? You also, once you get a job, maybe you're going shift work, you need to be able to commute from one place, from work to home to appointments, in the least amount of time possible. So you need to be able to manage your time better, because the moment you manage your time better, you get better opportunities. Okay? Number two, why cash is king. Okay? Number two, why cash is king. You're going to be able to enroll your kids in great activities in this country. And you know what? Here, to enroll your kids in great activities, you need money. Yes, you need money. I know there's a lot of free opportunities here for children, and personally, I took advantage of those. I took advantage of those. There are things like cadets and some other clubs that your kids can join that are almost free. But if you really want meaningful events and clubs for your children, they want to do football, they want to do rugby, you gotta belong to these football clubs. And I'm telling you, memberships there is over 500 per season, and you have to be able to commute and go around here and be a soccer mom, moving from one city to the other when your kids are competing. Some of these bands that kids are joining here, you realize that memberships are upwards of 2,000. Hockey, if your child wants to play hockey, you will be parting with a handsome amount of money for your child to be able to play hockey. If they want to ski, if they want to do things like skiing, and these are things which are new to these kids and they're exciting to them, those are activities that actually need money. So you need money. Otherwise, without that, you don't have money. You're taking the bus, you're leaving your kids at home, you can't afford to take them anywhere, so you leave them at the mercy of their phones. And the phones are going to babysit your children with Wi-Fi. Guess what they are doing? They're going to play games, they're going to be addicted, and they're going to watch pornography, whether you like it or not. Okay? Because you're never home to watch your kids and control them, or not even just control them, to guide them. Okay? Cash is king. It gives you choices, it gives you flexibility. Okay? Now, the best one is that you will be able to buy a home. It's not a crime for a newcomer to come here and buy a home, my friend. It's not a crime. Okay? You don't have to live in this country for 10-20 years before you can be able to buy your home. Can you imagine you can come today and buy your home in under a year? If you plan well. And that's why I'm here to tell you why you should be able to buy your home within the next 1 year if you're capable. Okay? Within 1 year of arriving in Canada, as soon as you get your credit rating up, you should be able to buy a home. As soon as you establish your credit, you should be on where, and you got a job, you should be buying your home. And a lot of you, believe me, a lot of you can afford homes, but you don't know that you can afford homes because we love to struggle. Yeah. Africans, we like to struggle. We like to struggle so that we can give testimonies. Guys. Now, let me tell you. You arrive, you most likely are going to have to rent. When you're renting, what happens? You're renting, you're still paying utilities, you're paying bills for that house. And you have, most likely you have starter jobs. So how much money can you save for a down payment? It's going to take you a long time to be able to save money for a sizable down payment for a reasonable house that is going to fit you and your family, especially if you have children. You want a home with 3 bedrooms and up. Okay, a home with a backyard whereby your kids can go out and play. Okay, you want some privacy, you want a good neighborhood, you want your kids to go to good schools with good resources whereby, you know, people are not peddling drugs outside the school gate. Okay, so how do you get these things? It depends on where you will rent. Okay, and if you don't have money, you end up renting in the ghetto, my friend. Sorry to say that. You end up renting in the ghetto. But if you have money, then you can rent in better places, or better even, you buy what you want where you want. Okay? How then do you buy instead of renting? Come give yourself a few months to rent and then work on either building or buying your first property. Okay? Now, before you buy a house here, you need to pay a down payment. And a down payment can be 5% down payment of the total cost of the house, because you're going to take a mortgage. So it's either 5%, 10%, 15%, or 20%. The best mortgage deposit that you should be putting down is 20%. And I'll tell you why. If you put in 20% of your mortgage, you evade what we call CMHC, mortgage insurance rules, whereby any mortgage deposit of under 20%, you will pay mortgage insurance. And I'm going to walk you through that. Okay, so you evade that by paying 20%. But paying 20% of, let's say, a house that is 500, it means that you need 100,000 Canadian dollars, and you just arrived in Canada. How did you then save 100,000? It's gonna take you 4 years to save 100,000 Canadian dollars. That's how much it takes people, about 5 years to be able, because you're paying rent, you're paying your bills, and I'm being very optimistic. You guys need to be having a good job for you to be able to save that 100,000 in those 5 years. A lot of people are not able to do that, so all they can afford is pay, is come up with that 5%. Okay, so you find that getting that mortgage deposit is an uphill task if you're not well prepared. So this keeps you a renter longer. Okay, and with rentals, you really are not in charge of that house. It's not yours. Some people, some landlords, they have, stipulations there. They have rules and regulations. You can't even drill, a nail in their wall. You can't even, there's so many things you can't do. It's not your house. Okay, so you end up living like you're in limbo. Because it's not your house, you can't do the things that you want to do. You can't even have a garden at the back because maybe the landlord doesn't want you to have a garden at the back in your backyard. Okay? So you find that you don't have choices when you're renting. And then you end up taking what is available, where it's available, within your budget. And most likely then you end up taking cheaper places because you want to save money. Okay? So because of this, you find that a lot of immigrants can only raise 5%. When they raise that 5%, then they pay the mortgage insurance. When they pay that mortgage insurance, it's like they didn't pay any deposit in that house. So their mortgage is very high. Okay? When your mortgage is very high, what happens? You find that you have to work your butt off. 2 jobs, 3 jobs, slaving for that house. So you buy a house, then you slave for it that you barely sleep in that house. That is not life, my friends. So let me give you an example, okay? So a house here, let's say an average house costs about 480,000 Canadian dollars, okay? When you pay 5% deposit, you need 24,000 Canadian dollars as deposit. 24,000 Canadian dollars, 5%. When you pay 20% deposit, you need 96,000 Canadian dollars. But you find that when you pay this, when you pay that 5% on that house that is 480, your mortgage insurance is 18,240. So you find that your mortgage, you will be 474. Okay, so the asking price was 480. You paid down payment, but because of this mortgage insurance, your mortgage is still up. It's only like you paid a deposit of 6,000 or actually 5,600. Okay, so you lose your deposit like that. On the other hand, if the same house 480, you paid 20% deposit, you don't pay any mortgage insurance, and therefore your mortgage is 384. 384 compared to this 474, my friend. When you compare that, you realize that you have a high mortgage, you're a newcomer, you have a starter job, and you'll be paying a lot of money on that mortgage. So that, what does that do to you? You're financially constrained. Okay, now I'm gonna keep that and tell you why you should not be doing that. Most of you now, most of you, before you come here, and that's why I said we immigrate halfway. We immigrate, you know, with one eye here and another eye back home. We don't sell off our properties. So you have a piece of property here, you have another piece of property there, you have a quarter land in Kamulu and another one in the middle of nowhere, and an acre there and half an acre there. You know, you have a lot of property. Let's say, for example, in a place like Kenya, you have a lot of small properties, and you left them there and you're feeling very good, and it's good, you know, it's land and it's investment, it's property. But you don't have control of that. It could be grabbed. You know how corruption is back home. It could be grabbed anytime. Or your neighbor's goats could be grazing off of it. Or your relatives could be cultivating on it and generating food for the family, for themselves. Okay? Well, you're here and you don't have deposit money. You don't have money for deposit for your house. And do you see now what I mean? If maybe I was saying that you need 20% deposit for that house that was 480, so you needed 96,000 Canadian dollars. I said that's a lot of money for a newcomer to come up with, okay? Especially when you're still paying rent. But if you had sold off some of your property or all of it, there's a high chance you would have brought more than that 96,000 Canadian dollars. So you would have your initial deposit 20%, and that is how you'll be able to buy your first home with a big down payment, and then you end up with a small mortgage. And that means that you're not going to be struggling paying back for that mortgage, and you're actually even going to enjoy your life here because you get a house you like, your children are gonna like get the house they like, and you're going to live in a good place where you choose, not where finances are dictating you. Okay, so you end up getting you sold off your 3 plots in Kenya and your car, and your down payment here buys you a beautiful home with a beautiful backyard and a picket fence. Okay, instead of that, we are busy here immigrating, leaving those things and living in the ghetto here. We are living in the ghetto, a lot of us, and that's why you realize that immigrants live in the in the poorest parts of any city. And if you talk to those immigrants, they will tell you just how many little pieces of land they have back home, and they don't even get any chance to go. And you know, there's that notion that you can always go back home and sell off your property. I tell you why that's a big lie. Okay, because any employer in this country gives you 3 weeks of vacation per year. What can you accomplish in 3 weeks, my friend? Very, 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 very little. Okay, so if you really want to go and dispose of your property back home, you need to take a sabbatical, unpaid leave. If you're taking an unpaid leave in this country to go home and sell a property, I'm telling you, you know what? You're still paying rent, you're still paying your bills, you're still paying your car insurance and car registration, so you still continue. So it's in your best interest not to be away from Canada for long, because most likely you'll even lose that job. If you're away for long, you end up losing that job. So you find that it's very hard to go and accomplish anything back home. So why don't you do them now before you immigrate? Because now you have the time to compile everything and sort your house and bring your cash here so that you're able to come and settle successfully in this country. It's going to take you a great deal. Okay? So, okay, so I just want to say, unless your property is generating income, because there are people who have properties that are generating income, please, if it's generating income, by all means, keep it. But I also know that even if they're generating income, money hardly flows this way. Money flows from Canada to Africa, not from Africa to Canada. So be smart on whether it's a worth investment. Some of them are really good investments when you're making good money, but for those ones which are dormant, No, what are you prioritizing? Are you prioritizing your comfort here in Canada for somebody's goats to graze in your property back home? Where are your priorities, my friend? So anyway, last but not least, I know I don't want to keep you here with this kind of preaching. Lastly, you know, with those little pieces that you have scattered everywhere in your home country that have made you a pauper here because you don't have, you are wealthy but you're very broke and poor here, unfortunately. So with those little pieces that you left behind, what does that mean? You end up spending all your vacation time back in Kenya to go check whether, you know, they were grabbed or not. So you came to this country, you got this beautiful passport. This is Canadian passport. Do you see? This is one of the most powerful passports ever you will have. That is my passport. Okay, let me show you. That's my passport, my beautiful passport. Okay, and you find that you get this document, but the only place you use this document to travel to is home. Seriously, what a waste. What a waste. If you came all the way, you labored for those years, you got this passport, and the only place it takes you back is your home country. You know, you could use your home country's passport. So you're not even utilizing this passport because all the vacations you go home. What I know, and I will tell you, and I'm telling this to the people who live here and you who is planning to come here, going to Kenya is not going on vacation. You know, I hear people saying, oh yeah, we're going on vacation, Kenya, yeah, you're going home. That's not vacation. And I'll tell you why it's not vacation. It's home because that's where my mama lives. That's where my grandmother lives. That's where my extended family lives. And so when I get there, I stay with family. You know, we congregate and I cook and I serve and I participate at home. Okay? That is not vacation for me. Vacation for me, what I know vacation is, it's either I'm globe-trotting, I am out there in Europe sightseeing, or I'm down somewhere in the Caribbean in an island sipping my pina colada with no worries in this world and not doing dishes. That is what I know vacation is. But we cannot afford to do that. Most of us, we are not affording to do that because every little time we have to go and check on that quarter acre in Kamulu somewhere. Whether it was grabbed. And you realize that most of the time you're just going to spend fighting with your relatives back home. My friend, think and think again. Think again. Where are your priorities? If you're immigrating, I want to call upon you. I hope I have preached to somebody. Say amen. If I preached to somebody and you're planning to immigrate, focus. Immigrate on a one-way ticket. And when I mean on a one-way ticket, it's not the flight ticket. Immigrate with a plan A to come here and succeed. If by any reason things don't work out, because things may not work out, if by any reason things don't work out in this country, you will say that you gave it all, your all. Okay? You gave it everything. And you know what? Your citizenship ain't going anywhere. You can always go back. You can always sell off the home you bought here and take your money and ship it out and go reestablish yourself back home. So you're not losing. But within that time that you'll be in Canada, you will have led a comfortable life. And you will have felt like you immigrated. Now, a lot of you, you're living good homes back home, and then you come here and you live in the ghetto. That is no way for an immigrant to live. That's not the reason we are immigrating. That is not the reason we are leaving home to come and immigrate and live a substandard life here. While we have the capability, while we are rich, while we have the resources, we are just leaving them back there. And you know what? At times, we end up dying and leaving those things and nobody even knows that we had those plots. And they are taken up by strangers. So guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video.